It was supposed to be an ordinary Tuesday at Maplewood High. But by sundown, 16-year-old Chloe Bennett, a bright, confident junior, would be found dead in the girls' restroom. No forced entry, no sign of a struggle, no clear cause of death, just questions. Who killed Chloe Bennett? Her jealous friend? Her cousin? The principal who didn't like her? Or was it someone no one ever suspected? Chloe Bennett wasn't just another student. She was the kind of girl people remembered, quick-witted, outspoken, a leader in the debate team. She came from a small but close-knit family. Her cousin, Mason, also attended Maplewood High. But behind that smile, Chloe carried the quiet pressure of expectation. She wanted to stand out, and sometimes that made her enemies. Teachers adored her. Students respected her, except maybe her best friend, Lena Morris. The two had been inseparable until recently. Rumors spread that they'd fallen out. Some said it was over a boy, others over a scholarship spot. Whatever it was, they weren't speaking anymore. And 1 week later, Chloe was dead. On November 14th, for 17 p.m., a janitor entered the girls' restroom on the second floor. Inside, he found Chloe lying unconscious beside the sinks. Her phone was shattered, her backpack torn. Paramedics tried to revive her, but she was gone before she reached the hospital. The medical examiner couldn't determine an immediate cause of death, just a bruise along the side of her head and traces of cleaning fluid on her clothes. Police declared it suspicious. The school went into lockdown, and the hunt for answers began. The first suspect was obvious, Lena, the best friend. She'd been seen following Chloe after school that day. Security footage showed her leaving the west exit 5 minutes before the time of death. When questioned, Lena broke down. "We argued," she said, "but she was my best friend. I didn't touch her." Her alibi checked out mostly. She'd called her mother at 4:12, but the call lasted just seconds. Then came Mason Bennett, the cousin. Mason was known to have a temper. He and Chloe had clashed over family matters, something about an inheritance dispute between their parents. A teacher saw him leaving the building just before the janitor's discovery. And when investigators searched his locker, they found a blood-stained hoodie. Mason insisted it was from football practice, but the stain pattern told another story. The police held him for 48 hours. The community turned vicious. His parents received threats. Reporters camped outside their home. Then came the third name, Principal Harris, a man who prided himself on discipline and who had recently been at odds with Chloe after she publicly accused him of favoritism during a student meeting. He'd called her disrespectful in front of staff. 2 days later, she was dead. He denied everything. "I didn't even see her that day," he said. But his car was parked outside long after closing hours. Still, with every lead came another dead end. There were no fingerprints, no witnesses, just silence and one faint clue. A staff keycard had been used to access the second-floor restroom hallway between 4 o'clock and 4:30. The keycard belonged to a teacher, Ms. Elaine Porter. To most, Ms. Porter was invisible, polite, quiet, early to work, late to leave. She taught English and ran the poetry club that few students attended. No one could imagine her involved in anything violent. But detectives learned that Elaine had been struggling. Parents had filed multiple complaints about her rigid behavior. A few students accused her of favoritism. Her colleagues said she'd become withdrawn, forgetful, jumpy. What no one knew was that Elaine was grieving. A recent divorce, a mother lost to cancer, a salary cut that forced her to sell her home and move into a small apartment. She was surviving on caffeine, anxiety, and a sense of duty that had long since curdled into exhaustion. When police questioned her, she admitted being in the building that afternoon. She said she'd gone to the restroom to freshen up. But security footage showed her entering just minutes before Chloe and leaving long after. Still, the investigators hesitated. There was no proof until they checked her trash can. Inside was a torn piece of a blood-stained tissue, matching the same cleaning fluid found on Chloe's clothes. When Elaine was brought in for questioning again, she broke. She said Chloe had come to the restroom upset, crying after receiving a failing grade. Elaine followed her in, hoping to talk, to calm things down. But words turned sharp. Chloe accused her of targeting her, of being bitter and jealous of girls who still had a future. Elaine said she tried to stop her from leaving, grabbed her by the arm, and Chloe slipped on the wet tile, striking her head against the sink. Elaine froze. She tried to help, but panic took over. She cleaned the floor, hid the tissue, and left the building shaking. "I didn't mean to hurt her," she said through tears. "I just wanted her to listen." Elaine Porter was charged with involuntary manslaughter. Mason was released. Lena was cleared. Principal Harris quietly resigned and left town. But Maplewood High never recovered. For months, the hallways felt colder, the restroom sealed, the mirrors removed. And every year, on November 14th, a candle still burns by Chloe's old locker. In the end, it wasn't malice that killed Chloe Bennett. It was the weight of pressure, grief, and silence. A teacher who'd lost too much, a student who pushed too far, and a moment that no one could ever take back. Because in every classroom, behind every tired smile, there's a human being trying not to break. And sometimes they do.